Hi guys, so here is what happened on my aura transformation yesterday. I tried to make a video last night right after, but it was already getting dark. So anyway, I'm feeling really solid today, and my sleep was amazing. I was still having uploads from the transformation. So beforehand, I was feeling a little apprehensive just because it's such a big change and a big shift, and it's not something that you can go back once you've done it, once you've decided to do such a drastic aura shift. So I had a little bit of fear, but I just kept checking in and asking my guides and asking angels, is this right for me? And I kept getting a yes, and all the way up to the very moment I was getting a yes. So I got there, and basically we did it all just sitting down, and my feet were pressed against the mediator's feet the whole time to keep a connection and grounding. And the first thing that I did was check in and see if I had any guides that were actually inside my aura before, because actually part of the crystallization and part of the transformation is releasing the old aura, and the aura will kind of disintegrate. So I did have a few of my guides, my personal guides, in my aura. So I just gently asked them to, if they would move outside the aura and support me from there. And the reason that I found out, the reason that they were in my aura was actually because my aura had already started to dissipate. So it was about 30%, 30 to 40% already dissolving. So they just through the spiritual work and the plant ceremonies and the intention to do this, that was already happening. So my guides had come in as protection and just set up shop there, which I thought was great. So they easily and gently moved out, and I still felt such a huge support, calling in all of my guides and allies, and they were still very much there with me. So once the process started, I could definitely feel an energy surge moving in through the bottom of my feet, and it's different for everyone. This is just my experience with it. So I could feel like electrical charges and energy, really intense energy moving up through my feet, and I could feel it in my arms. They were tingling. I also, when I closed my eyes, I could see geometric, like sacred geometry in light form, and it was almost like this was the information that was coming through. It was like an energetic software upload. So a new program was being uploaded, and it very much felt like that. It felt very safe and good, actually. It was just energizing me and coming up. And I noticed that it got stopped at my knees, and there was just kind of a block there in my knees. So we did a healing and worked through that block and traced it back to the original wound, which was pretty intense. It was a pretty intense memory. And then from there, we would go into the Akashic records and consciously decide to change that memory before the trauma happened. And it shifted very quickly. And so it was a process of healing. We went through any places that were resisting or blocked or had old trauma in there that hadn't already been released, went through. And I could see memories. They would just come into my mind, and I could experience going through it, then letting it go and changing it. And it was all just a beautiful process. And interestingly, when that was feeling complete, and we could both feel that, it was coming to a completion, I started feeling, I was very grounded, but I would fluctuate. I'd feel very grounded in 1 second, and then I felt like I was wanting to float up, float out, go out of the room, out of my body, not as an escape, because I'm familiar with that too, where you just want, I'm out of here. It wasn't that wanting to escape. It was more of following energy. And then the mediator said, well, this is where your aura is dissipating more and kind of falling away. And so, it will feel like you're going out. And so I just allowed that to happen, which is really interesting. It was just, I could definitely feel it happening. I could feel, and the energy was still coming up into my body, like it was filling me with this new information, this new program, and new information from source, from a divine, beautiful place of love. It just felt like this source love energy filling me up. And so while that was happening, I could feel the aura, releasing and going, and any thoughts or fear that came in at this point just really evaporated pretty quickly because of what the experience was like. It just was feeling like a really high vibration love. And I likened it to my experience with ayahuasca and the beautiful plant ceremonies, when the plants would actually be informing me from their light system, their light grid system. It felt similar, not exactly the same, but in the same family. So it wasn't scary. After that, we moved through several different stages of bringing soul parts back. This is the big soul retrieval that can happen. Bringing the pieces of my consciousness that were out in other places, in other objects, in other people, in other memories, and all of this happened very quickly. And I could literally see and feel what was coming back to me, and it felt amazing. It felt just like a big soul retrieval. It was just so empowering and loving, and just like remembering these pieces that are me, that have been gone for a while, and that scattered feeling that is sometimes there just went away. And there was also this sense of just not having any desires anymore. Like I was feeling so complete that there wasn't anything that I desired in that, while that was happening in that moment. So that was so refreshing and freeing. So I want to back up just a little, because before the session, I felt like I should have pretty clear intentions of what I wanted to happen. And so I did have very clear intentions. And what was interesting is everything that happened in the aura transformation session was tying in with these intentions and actually bringing them into manifest. And without trying, the memories, everything correlated with it. So, it was very much like an energy medicine healing session, but on an even bigger scale. So after the soul pieces come back, there was just this deliciousness of feeling complete and whole and expanded, and just really in touch with what we seek in meditation, or within any practice like that. It was all there. It was all kind of congealing together and felt amazing. Then the next stage of the process was to bring all of that in to the body, to bring the spiritual and the physical and all of this together into one. And that part just felt like a huge hug from God. It was so beautiful. I could feel it just wrapping around me. It felt very safe. It felt like I had this armor, this beautiful armor on, and I was just completely in touch with divine source energy, with what my body was feeling, with all these pieces that had come back. I felt just coming back to me. And so this process took a little bit of time. There was also a balancing of the masculine and feminine inside. There were moments where I felt a little disoriented and disheveled, like I had just been kind of taken apart and not quite put together yet. And so that's, it was just part of my process. I got to just feel totally taken apart and not knowing and out of control, to coming back to wholeness and this delicious, delicious love. And the energy was still moving through towards the end, after the masculine, or the masculine feminine balancing. It felt like really raw electric currents running through my body, my meridians. And at points it felt like a union between the masculine and feminine, as opposed to two separate entities being balanced. It was more of a coming together as one. And I felt some just a sexual fire rising up and moving and circulating, and just that inner power, that fire within, really being activated, and enjoyed that so much. So after it was done, I remember opening my eyes and feeling like everything around me looked more beautiful, and still does. And it was almost like I didn't know who was looking out of my eyes. I felt very present in my body. It wasn't like when you feel slightly out of your body and something else comes in, you have a foreign. It wasn't that at all. It was definitely all of me inside, but a new me, a brand new perspective. It was like a rebirth, and I was literally looking out of my eyes with brand new eyes, and I had to sit with that a bit. It was a different feeling than what I'm used to, and so I had to really just look around the room, and there were no already established definitions on everything. So I was looking at things just new and discovering what they are, discovering experientially. And I remember looking at the mediator, and his face had changed. He was familiar but different, and I just felt this huge love for him and for just in general. So I got in the car to drive after that and was going through traffic. It was pretty heavy traffic, which would have stressed me out before. And it just didn't. It was almost this pleasure. I was just feeling this inner contentment and pleasure. So I laughed and said, I've never enjoyed such pleasure in traffic, but that's what it felt like. So nothing was really affecting me in a negative way. I was just enjoying everything as if it was for the first time. And I still feel that way today. There have been a few things that would have rocked me a lot, and would have been frustrating because I had an agenda. I had something I wanted to do, a to-do list, and this was kind of jumping in instead. But it didn't affect me the way that it would have before. So I'm just noticing these little things, and they're simple. They're not huge peak experiences. It's a very simple upgrade, and yet I can definitely feel that it's a much, much higher vibration than what was running through my body before. And it feels just bringing that source energy in more into the body. So it feels really good. I just feel a lot of love. And another thing that happened was, like I said, I got amazing sleep last night. I was still having a major downloads, and just sound sleep. Got thoroughly rested, and my cat just had to lay on top of me all night long, which he never does. He's usually a okay, pet me, okay, I'm done kind of cat, and so he wanted to be right on top of me all night long and just loving it, purring like crazy. And so even with that, I had a great sleep. Like, it just felt like we were sharing energy and connecting. And so yeah, I mean, I wanted to share this with you. I know I've rambled on a bit, but it was so incredible, and so much like an ayahuasca ceremony without taking anything, and just tapping into that beautiful source energy that's inside everything and letting it inform me, letting it inform us. And it's just a beautiful process. I'm really glad that I decided to do it. Um, I'm I'm guessing some things are still going to be releasing that don't need to be there, and so I'm just going to go with it, and I'll keep videoing and keeping you in the loop, let you know how it's going. So thanks for watching. Bye.